Welcome to our online parts ordering webinar. So what we're going to talk about today, guys, is we're really going to be focusing on the setup process for electronic ordering. There is some additional features that you need to do if you want to order through WorldPak, and they have a little bit of limitation just because of the software that they use. I do want to spend a little time kind of talking about the whole electronic ordering industry because it affects us as a provider all the time, and it will affect you if your provider switches, and it happens, like I said, all the time. So then we're going to talk a little bit about how you order parts from the RO. I'm not sure how much you guys are actually using this or not using this yet. And then we're going to talk about the restocking feature that's tied into the parts that are on your RO that you've ordered from ordered online. I think that is really one of the top features of MaxxTraxx, and like I said, I'm kind of the accounting junkie. I believe in integrated accounting as one of the top features of MaxxTraxx Pro CE, but I do think this online parts ordering is right there, number 2. So since it's just the few of us on today's call, please stop me, interrupt me. Let's talk about different situations that you're running into. Like I said, small group, so let's keep it real open. So let me start with, under setups, we have electronic ordering. So when we click on this, and if you're new installed, most of these are already clicked, but sometimes they're unchecked just because you've never activated them in your system. So if you're going to want to make any of these online ordering providers available in the vendor record, which is where we do the setup, we'll go to in a minute, you need to have them checked here, okay? And something I want to just mention, you see on the NextCat, this is the Wrenchhead Incorporated became WHI in 2006. They have NextCat and NextPart, and NextCat is the name of their catalog. And since it's a catalog and doesn't go through a vendor for online parts ordering, it's really just online parts lookup of their electronic catalog, we have this change setup button. And you can see it only gets lit up when it's on NextCat. So we would just click on this, and we would put in our username and password. Okay, so that is something completely separate, and I'll show you how that works. And I don't know how much people are using the catalog anymore because online parts ordering is becoming so prevalent in our industry. You don't have to pay for it because right now the NextCat catalog is a subscription. But when we look at IAP, which is Internet Auto Parts, we have NAPA, which is just for NAPA stores, WorldPak, which is just for WorldPak locations. And then we have Wrenchhead e-commerce, which is also called NextPart. Like I said, they used to always be called Wrenchhead or wrenchhead.com. Now they actually brand their electronic ordering NextPart by WHI, just because they did a name change in 2006. So this is essentially where you activate these. Now the second step to this, if you are using WorldPak, is you need to go to this workstation and click on Printing and Miscellaneous Info. We have to enable WorldPak Speed Dial on this workstation. Now this is an extra little feature here, and the reason why this feature only allows you to open up MaxxTraxx in one instance on your workstation. I know when I was doing the books at the shop that I was using MaxxTraxx in, I could have 3 or 4 windows open. So I could be in the middle of paying bills, and then if I needed to, stuff in a really quick restock parts invoice because somebody was trying to get an RO out the door, I could do that. Or if I just wanted to be able to look up a customer's account to see where they're at without having to get out of my screen, I would have several instances of MaxxTraxx open. But you'll notice now I have this checkbox checked, and it won't let me open it up again. If I were to click on MaxxTraxx Pro again, it would say here, an instance of MaxxTraxx is already running on this computer. When you're using WorldPak, you can only have one instance of MaxxTraxx running on a single computer, and that's called, technical term, a WinSock sharing issue. And I don't know how accurate that is, but essentially what it means is you can't be ordering online from WorldPak because it interfaces with the WorldPak software, online ordering software, which you'll see in a minute, so it doesn't let us have multiple versions, like I said, or multiple instances, I should say, to be correct, instances of MaxxTraxx up. So those are pretty much your two setups, pretty basic. So if you have a vendor that you've never set up for electronic ordering before, this is how we do it. We just go into vendors on the menu bar and look at our list of vendors. And here's my list of vendors. I'm going to pick IMC. They're a big import parts house here in California and select areas around the country. So when I go into their vendor record and I click on a catalog, here I can select from my drop list, these are the different catalogs. Now, all data is on there because I also am set up to be able to bring information over. But you can see I have IAP, Napa, and Wrenchhead, which is also next part. And now I don't have WorldPak on this list, probably because I already have it under my WorldPak account. I already have it selected, okay? So you would just select on whichever electronic ordering provider your parts warehouse uses. So let's say IAP. So you'll notice the information that you got to enter in here is different based on which they're different based on which provider you're using. So let's look at Napa. So you have a username and password, but here I need a distribution center and a customer type. Okay, and luckily we have a list here from Napa, which makes it real nice because it's going to be one of these. Pretty simple. So going back to IAP, check this one out. I have a partner company, store ID, and program group. Now the problem is we don't have a drop-down list for this because there are so many companies that use IAP, Internet Auto Parts, or Internet Auto Parts, for doing your online ordering, that they all have these different codes all the time, and they're changing all the time. So when you talk to your vendor, so a lot of people say, well, how do I get this set up? Well, you really need to call your local parts store. And I cannot tell you how many times we have had somebody call their Napa parts store, and they don't know. They really don't know. So they kind of have to go up the chain to get to the IT people, probably for their distribution center, to get your username and password. Now, it actually is set up at the store level, but I don't think everybody is aware exactly how it's done. But they are the ones who have to give you your username and password and distribution center. Now, you can always give us a call at our tech support number, and we'll help you guys with getting this information, because it's real frustrating if you can't get to the right people. And we do have some contacts at Napa, some contacts at certainly great contacts at IAP that can help us get you to the right person, or they will contact your local store and let them know how to get this information. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And like I said, it can be pretty frustrating. And same thing for next part. So next part is really just a username and password, so very, very easy to do. So let's just, for fun, let's just, for example, if we were doing IAP, it may be, Sabrina123, and oftentimes this is my store address. This is my store number, and then maybe my password would be 12345. I'm just making something up. And then your partner company is going to be, if you're CarQuest, for example, CarQuest, I know in 2008, 2,000 stores were on NextPart, but as of recently, General Parts, which owns 1,400 of the 3,000 CarQuest stores, they use IAP. So you have to find out from your local store what they're using. So they will give you a partner company who it's going to be. It could be O'Reilly's maybe, because I know O'Reilly's, old CSK, uses IAP. Your store ID may be, 03, I don't know, WRI, something like that. And your program group may be something like eStore. Now, what I've found is that these are case sensitive. So if one isn't working, play around with it a little bit and see if you're having a case sensitive issue. Some people say it shouldn't be, but I saw it yesterday, so I know it is. So that's a little bit about the nuts and bolts of how to get this set up. And again, it's done under the catalog link. So once these are set up here, let me back up and remind you of one thing. For WorldPak, when you set up your WorldPak catalog, you also have to download the WorldPak speed dial software on each workstation you're going to use. The program, or you're going to use electronic ordering on through MaxxTraxx. So just a little side note about WorldPak. So once it's set up like that, it works immediately. And oftentimes, another thing I wanted to note, people have Napa online parts ordering username and passwords. They are typically, as far as I've seen, probably in the last 2-3 months, they are different username and passwords for if you go straight to Napa's website and order, or if you go through MaxxTraxx. WorldPak, I think, is the same. But some of these vendors, they actually issue a different username and password. And again, this goes back to, for 2 years, a company may be using Connect, which is, I think, through ActiveVent, and then they go through, I could be wrong on that one, then they go through IAP for a while, and then they go through NextPart, and then they go to a proprietary one. Now, the reason why, guys, these companies are always changing their electronic ordering providers is because there's fees. Every single time you order, they may take a percentage of the order from you through your parts house. They charge the parts house maybe, I don't know, a % or 2. I have no idea how they set that up. Maybe it's a per transaction fee. Every time you guys order online, they charge a transaction fee. So that's why they switch providers, because somebody's doing a better deal. It's kind of like credit cards. We have the same thing all the time, or different bank programs. So things will change, things will evolve, and you'll notice in our software, we're always evolving our software to be able to keep up with all the different programs. So didn't want to get too into that, but I know from my experience, I found it very challenging in the beginning to get this hooked up. Actually, WorldPak was the easiest one, falling off a log. Download the WorldPak speed dial software and then put the username and password in. But anybody else that I wanted to, like going with Factory Motor Parts is who we ordered with through NextPart, it's a little challenging getting the right username and password. And now that IAP and Napa needs all that, store, distribution center, store type, there's a little bit more challenging, but please be patient. It's so worth it. So now let's look at how great this feature is. Like I said, can't say enough about it. So I'm going to look at a Saturn here, my Saturn, and if I want to get an oil filter, so let's say I throw on some labor here for my oil filter. I'll just throw that on. And now I highlight the labor line, of course, to activate the Add Parts button. You guys all know that. So here are all my options. I can get information off my All Data CD, which I actually have loaded here. If you guys want to see that, please mention. I may as well go over that if you have any interest in that. I can order from WorldPak. I can order from, again, NextPart is where in the setup section under electronic ordering it said WrenchHead, same thing. It's NextPart e-commerce. This is the catalog. This is Napa, again, directly, because I think they have proprietary software now for their interface. I could be wrong on that, I'm not positive, but I don't think they're going to be changing. And then IAP, which, let me click on it. IAP, I have a couple of vendors. Well, here's the practice one I just created, so I don't actually have that. But I do have electronic ordering through Pacific Auto Parts and also through O'Reilly. So let's click on and see if the Pacific Auto Parts is live and works. Okay, so notice here in the lower left corner, this is my labor that this part is going to be added to, okay? So all I do is already populated my year, make, and model. Here I'll just select my engine. So I've got the 6-cylinder, and then I click on Begin. And then I just pick which category I'm interested in. So let's see. Let's look at filters. I can look up engine filters, and let's just say I want to look at oil filters, and click on Parts List. So here is my option. I have a WIX number. I have a Pro number. Let's say I pick the WIX. I just click here in the checkbox, and this is my store, Pacific Automotive Company. It's just a local supplier here in San Francisco. And this is what I want to order, and I know what my cost is. And by the way, the cost here This is part of you logging in with your username and password, not only to make sure the part shows up to your location, but it also has your pricing with this vendor automatically in here, okay? So then I'm going to click on Add to Quote. And then I click on because now I just added it to my quote. And I could go back and order more stuff, but let me just click on Transfer Quote right now. So there's my oil filter. So now this part number and this part, I've actually created a record now on my parts list. When I click on Parts Search, it would show up. In fact, let's look and see if it's there before I close. You know, I might have to close out first. I'm going to save this real quick. Let's figure this out together. 57033. If I hit Save Only, see, this is going to tell me to order it. We're going to go over that real quick, but I want to look and see something. 570. See, there it is. So it automatically adds that part that I just pulled from that online parts catalog onto my list. And actually it says a stock of -1 because I've got one on that repair order and I haven't stocked it yet. And by the way, here's the pricing, and that price is based on my pricing matrix. So I'm going to digress a little bit and show you something under Setups. So under Setups, Repair Order and Parts Invoices, I go under RO Setup. Let's see where it's at. I'm pretty sure I have this set up. Here we go. Use my matrix for buyout parts, or use matrix for new and catalog parts. So I just added a catalog part, so it automatically applied my price matrix. That's why it took that Wix filter that I think was like $6 and is now charging $16 for it because I have some, so I think a 60% parts price matrix for parts under $25. So you can, of course, go in and edit that, change as you need it, but I actually have this set up automatically to add to my list. And I think I also have, here's this checkbox. Yeah, here's the other one. Add catalog parts to inventory list. So whenever I do go online, it is populating my parts list, my inventory list. I love that. I think it's awesome, and it really speeds things up. So that's under inventory setups, okay? That's under your setup section, RO and parts invoice. So luckily, if you guys ever want to reference this video, we'll have it archived online to be able to go back and look at that. So when I go, so let me go back in here. So when I exit this, of course, I also have the feature set up to warn me that I have a short sale, right? So if I click OK, Save Only. Now, even though I went to Pacific, remember I went to Pacific Auto to order this part, or to import this part number into my repair order, I now have the option to click in the order column and click Next. And now the system may say, well, I might have looked it up on Pacific, but I can order it from anybody I want. Well, of course, I'm going to order it from Pacific because it's who I just went in and pulled the information, the parts pricing from. So now when I click on this, if I actually hit this Send Order button right now, for real, it would order that part. And it would, I'm not sure what address that Pacific Auto Parts has on there for me. It may actually, they may know that this is a demo account, but we've got, I mean, it's a real live account, so those are real live pricing, and literally if you hit the Send Order button, it goes to whatever my local parts house is. It, you know, it prints out a pick ticket, and it goes right to the back. So a lot of people will say, you know, I want to call in because I think it'll get my order in first, or I'll know that it got done. Well, I will tell you from experience and from what my parts suppliers have told me that I did online parts ordering with, is that the ones with a pick ticket that come through this Send Order button here automatically, they get picked first. And, you know, it's a tough call. I know there's also an impression out there, if I do online parts ordering and I don't call my counter guys, they're going to get rid of my counter guys, and my counter guys are the talent, and that's, I don't know about you guys, but that's how we picked our parts vendors of many things, but having a really knowledgeable parts guy was very, very key, especially if I was doing the parts ordering, since it's really not my bailiwick. It's more, you know, operations rather than service writing. So I think that fear is a little bit unfounded as we're going forward, because they're always going to have parts guys on the counter for you. But this does work, and it works fast. It goes on the very next run. I've been very, very happy with it. So after you click that send order button, and I'm not going to click it right now because it will send an order, but it gives me a box right here, a confirmation box that says order has been sent. So I just save this. Now the coolest part of this for me, even if I don't hit that send order button, let's say I do still pick up the phone and say, hey guys, get me a filter coming, and I already know the filter number though, 57055, something like that. So now when my Pacific Auto Parts guy comes in, throws his receipt on the counter, gives me my filter, goes out the door, then I just go back into order parts, and here it is, Pacific Auto Parts, and these are my open parts orders, okay? I click this big green check mark that says convert this selected parts order into a receive vendor invoice, which is the same as this, restock parts, this button right here. So if I check this box, see, you guys, I'm sure you recognize this screen. This is what the, move this down, this is what the restock parts screen looks just like. But then all I have to do is click OK, save, post. I would take this shortcut and enter in my fake number. So, and then click OK. So what happens is I've just really, really streamlined a bunch of things. First of all, I've seen that the part is in stock at my vendor. I've ordered it electronically, so I don't have to pick up the phone. It's going right in there. As soon as I send that order through, it goes to their pick list, goes in their, you know, the pick center in the back. They pick my part. They throw it on the next delivery truck. And then when I go back into my repair order, you'll see this little red circle is gone because now I've restocked my part. It's not a short sale. Okay, so I kind of ran through the whole process with you guys. And it works the same, really, for whichever vendor you go with. Let's go add parts from Worldpac. Actually, you know what? I'm going to cancel. I want to show you one other thing. And by the way, I have Worldpac set up to automatically do my login and my username and password. It's kind of cool. If you need to know how to do that, please call up a tech support person and they'll walk you through that. But I wanted to actually back up and show you something else. If I have a request for service line highlighted instead of the labor line where I can't add parts, I can add labor. And if I want to add labor from, let's say, IAP again, let's go back to Pacific Auto Parts. This is the coolest thing, I think. It will let me, I think I can just click on labor. Bear with me here for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and click begin. Now I'm going to click labor. What this allows you to do is if you have, like I mentioned earlier to some of the guys before our webinar started, if you have a labor guide activated in your online parts ordering account with whatever your parts vendor is. Now remember, your parts vendor pays a certain amount. I don't know if it's 10 bucks, 25 bucks, whatever it is. They pay a certain amount a month to this online parts ordering provider to get you access to this labor guide. So most of the time, first of all, they may not volunteer it up. You have to ask for it. And some distribution centers don't make it available in your area. That's just the fact of the matter. But I would definitely ask for it. But if you're doing enough volume, it totally justifies them paying that monthly fee. So now let's click on belts and cooling. I'll just say all groups. Let me bring this up a little bit. Arrow down. Okay, so I'm going to click on next. Okay, and here is my labor guide. I just think this is the coolest thing. It's free. I mean, a lot of shops have AllData or Mitchell for their labor guide, or Chilton, I think, is online now too. But what you can do is then click on, here's my diagnose, maybe I'm going to do a flush, I don't know, a couple of things. So then, this would be full screen, guys, if I weren't doing a demo. I'm going to go ahead and post and return to quote. Now, these guys are really smart. And if I want to bring over these labor guides, they also want me to bring over a part in order to use this labor guide feature, which is kind of cool. So in most, depends on your shop. Sometimes you have to do this, sometimes you don't. But I'm going to go back into catalog real quick and grab a little something in cooling. I don't know, I'll grab a hose. Just because I have to grab something for this one part supplier for me to access his database. Okay. Oh, let's see. We don't have one. They don't have that. See, call for availability. It'll tell you if they have it in stock. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead back to my catalog. Belts and cooling. Let's say all hoses. Quick parts list. Okay, here we have one. We'll bring this heater hose over just for fun. View and add to quote. So I'm adding it to my quote. Now when I hit transfer quote, look it brings all these labor times over for me. Now, frankly, I'm not going to use this heater hose, but I needed it there to bring my labors over. And like I said, some part suppliers require that, some don't. Most of them don't. But I wanted to show you not only do you have this great access to this online parts ordering to get your parts coming, but you also have access to that labor guide, and it's included. Typically, it's free. Occasionally, I've heard of a shop saying, yeah, well, they actually put, a charge on my parts bill every month for the labor guide, but that's pretty few and far between. Let's do this one for NextPart because they also have another really cool feature. I'm going to go through Factory Motor Parts, who is actually a real one that I used for years. Fabulous. Okay, so this is a demo. So let's say, same thing, belts and hoses. I'm going to go cooling. Here's my group. And I'm going to say display labor only. So here's an example of one that doesn't require me to bring a part, just the labor. So now I can just check. Let's see. Now let's just say both. I'm going to do them both. Now there's a couple of these. They all have a little bit different procedures, and it's really just something that you got to fool around with to figure them out. I am going to be doing some training videos on this, guys, in the next couple of weeks and put them on the website, one that says specifically order or add parts to a repair order from IAP, or one specifically from NextPart, because they're all a little bit different. But I also have the ability here to edit my labor multiplier. I could say 1, or I could say 1.1, just for fun. I'll just reset it. Why isn't it working for me? And I click on Order Review, and then I click on Add Selected Items to RO. So now this is a NextPart labor for those radiator hoses. Pretty cool. So, of course, my RO is looking a little messy, but I really wanted to show you guys not only is the online parts ordering so very cool, but it is really cool to be able to get this labor guide information. One other thing that is available through NextPart, let's look at this one, factory again, and you'll notice every single time I'm loading this up, it knows my year, make, and model. See that? Automatically. I have repair specs and diagrams. So I can look at, let's see, component locator diagram. Let's look at that, see what it looks like. Now, of course, you guys, like I said, you probably have this from all, I don't have one for this year, make, and model. Let's try it. Try a different one. You have a lot of this information available with Mitchell or All Data, but if you didn't have it, it's kind of cool. Let's go into repair specs. What about tire data, maybe? Okay. So, for example, it tells you what size, tire size you could have, give you a couple of options. And, again, this is really individual to your parts house that you're working with. Your parts house may give you this feature or not this feature. But I'm obviously this is a demo one I have directly from NextPart, so they show me everything. But like I said, you just have to ask for it. So there's a lot of features in here, I'll be honest, guys, and I think it's pretty obvious that I haven't spent a whole lot of time getting real familiar with these parts warehouses sites and how to navigate them. I've worked with shops that just fly through this stuff. They really figured it out, navigated it, and I think we are going to start focusing on very specific videos that talk nothing other than about how to navigate their websites, because we want you guys as the users to really know how to take advantage of this feature. So I'll definitely get better at that. Just so you know, you can't export this information where it says like order review and add selected items to RO. This is just lookup information for you guys. So tell me, is this something you think you guys will start using?
I think so.
Yeah? Are you guys doing any online parts ordering directly through the Parts Warehouse website right now?
We are
Yes.
at Napa Auto Care Center, and we do some through them and some through O'Reilly. But we're going typically to their site. We're not doing it through MaxxTraxx.
Right, right. Okay, Jackie. And Ron, I know you said that you were doing some online parts ordering too. Let's do the Napa one. So let's highlight it, a labor. Let's do this one. In fact, why don't I clean this up a little bit, guys? This is kind of messy. Okay, so now I'm going to go on highlight my labor and add a part from Napa. Let's see what this interface looks like. Okay, so it's asking me my engine, or my more information about my model, which is my engine. So here I can select parts by category, search for a part by keyword, by job. Let's just make it easy for me and select a part. Let's see if I put in an oil filter. Just going to work smooth. And here, by the way, this is the labor line. Again, you'll notice always they show the labor line that you're going to add it to. And it is it's going to use my pricing matrix, by the way. So let's just click on oil filter. And let's say I'm going to go with a gold. Okay, this is retail price. This is not your cost. We will be getting cost information in the next update. I was mentioned earlier before our webinar started that we do actually have this done. This part of it's done. It just needs to come out in the next update that we need to get out sooner than later. So if I check in this box, I have this feature down here to ask for quantity when parts are selected. I have quantity of 1, and I click OK. And it says right here, the cost for the item was not returned from Napa. That is something that will be in our next update. So now all I have to do is click Add Selected Parts to RO. Same thing. So here's, let's just delete. I'll leave that one there. So now when I exit, and this is a Napa number, 7033, I click in the order column just like before, and my vendor already says Napa, and I click Next. And Napa is already pre-selected because their online parts ordering, which everybody is a little bit different, tells us which vendor it is, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and click on Next. And here's the same thing. If I hit the Send Order button, again, this is a demo account number for Napa, so it wouldn't go anywhere. But this is what it looks like. Is live, and it would give me a confirmation. Your order has been sent. So same thing. What you want to do then, Jackie, is just save this. And when they actually walk in the door with it, and this is a common mistake I did for sure, and I just even talked to another shop last night, did the exact same thing. You would think you would go into Restock Parts, right? You go into Restock Parts and find that Napa, and it's not there. You actually go back into Order Parts, and this lists your open parts orders. I don't know, it was a little bit confusing for me, but I kind of get the logic now. It makes sense. And now all I do, again, is click that big green check mark to convert it. And remember, I don't have a cost on this one because our system isn't set up right now to bring over Napa's cost, but every other vendor works that way, Jackie. We just click on Edit Line, and I don't know how much this filter was. But notice something here. I'm glad we're doing this so you can see something. When I click this Edit Line, let me go back in here. I can either click Edit Line Item or double-click on it. You'll see I put my cost in here, but notice this is grayed out. It says Assign items to. It's already reserved for this repair order number, 10,075, because we started the purchase order when we were exiting that RO, so it knows to tie it back to it. It knows it automatically. So by the way, the other thing people often ask is that, well, I also got a belt coming. Well, go ahead and add it from here. Add it on there. Let me put it in a belt. Whoops. No, I don't even have a belt. So what I would do is just click Add Part, and let's just put in a belt. Because let's say we just ordered something from Napa that did not make it when we did the electronic ordering. Let's say we call them and say, hey, guys, can you throw a belt on that? And they just threw it on there for us. So I'm just putting in I have no idea what this would be. We'll just add it. So then I would just add this belt to the RO. And here, see, I have an option. Do I want to assign it? Say, yeah, I want to assign it to that same Saturn. Here it is. This feature right here, this is amazing. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then save it and post it. Yeah, I knew that because I wasn't sure what my target amount was to begin with, right? This warning, you guys are familiar with this warning. So I'm going to post it anyway. And put in my safe vendor number. Okay, now, and it reminds me, it says, hey, Sabrina, you need to put this belt on this RO number. Just don't forget to do that. So I can print this, but, you know, I'm going to go do it right away, so I'm not worried about it. But printing the list is handy if you guys have multiple people in your shop, and you could just throw it maybe in we use packets, you know, work order packets. We would throw a parts invoice in there if we needed to get that added onto the repair order. Now I can just do a blank piece of paper and get that parts invoice, you know, in the bin where it belongs. So now I go back in here. It'll remind me again, hey, Sabrina, get that belt on there. Okay. And then the way we would do it, remember this feature, go on your labor and click Add Parts from Parts on Order. And there's my belt. Click in the Select column and click OK. And it's added. So it's important, I think it's really important to know all the different ways. Oh, we need to put a price in here, by the way, for that oil filter. We'll put $12, I don't know. You know, it's really important to know all the different ways to, once you order these parts, how to get them on the invoice. We can also click on the Parts on Order link on the left. And this tells me everything that I've actually ordered for this repair order. It'll tell me the vendor invoice it came in on. It's stocked. It's ordered and received. If I hadn't ever restocked that Napa ticket yet, Jackie, it would actually say, receive would say 0, and I actually wouldn't have these two invoice numbers in here because I was still waiting. And that's how you know, oh, well, somebody put an order in for it. So if if you're cruising along, just wanting to know where each job's at, where are the parts on these? Click on Parts on Order. Oh, they've been ordered. That's cool. We just haven't received them yet. They'll be coming. And for example, if they get put on back order, and through the purchase order feature, you can put something on back order, you'll be notified of it. It'll say, yeah, this vendor invoice has come in, but they back ordered the belt. So anyway, that's kind of how that works. And the reason why we don't have the PO number right here is because it wasn't created with the purchase order feature when we exited RO. You know, that big pink screen. So how are we doing? Are you guys following me here? Is this kind of tying together?
Yes.
Okay.
What about the restock? How would you handle the restock?
The restock invoice when they actually show up with our parts?
No, like if I, my weekly, like I send in a restock order to Napa, like I'm restocking my oil filters that I keep in-house.
Okay, let's look here. See what we can do here. If I order parts, I'm going to create a new purchase order. And click on Napa, and we say, what was that oil filter number? 70, what was it, 7033? Yeah. Oh, here, I got a couple Napa numbers. So let's say I'm going to order 6 of those and assign them to stock because it's inventory. That's okay. And then let's assign another oil filter in there. Where was that? Oil filter, another Napa. There, that one. So let's go ahead and select that. We're going to get 6 of those. Again, assign them to stock. Okay, so that's all we do. And then we click the Send Order button. So instead of going through a repair order, you actually just click directly. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. I'll see it changes now. We just go up to Order Parts, create a new part order, click Napa, add line, parts, 706 of those. Oh, I can actually hit the add another button. And what was that one other part number?
13.
Oh, 1390. Thank you. 1394. Double click. Going to get 4 of those. Cool. Hit that order, send order button. Same thing. Go save. Okay, save. And then what we can do, we can save it, we can convert it, we can cancel remaining orders. I want to show you this real quick. Let's save this open PO. These are things you guys might run into. So, okay, you do your stock order. A couple hours later, they show up with your stuff. Remember, you got to go back into order parts. I made the mistake for a long time by hitting restock parts button instead. So click order parts. Here's my Napa. I'm going to convert it. Actually, let's double click on it instead of hitting that green check mark. So now when I click OK, save, see I have that option. So what happens sometimes is, let's say we convert it to a vendor invoice. And let's see what we got on there, too. A bunch of filters. So I'm going to click cancel on this for a moment because I want to show you something. So let's say these 4 didn't show up. These 4 1394s didn't have any in stock. So I'm going to delete that. Are you sure you want to delete it? Yeah. But I got the rest of these. Okay, that's good. So it went down from, what, 52 or 54 to 36. So I'm going to post it. And yeah, I know. And then I'm going to put in my fake number. Click OK. Now check this out. I am still in my parts order. Here it is. I'm going to open it up again. This says complete. See? Here are the 6 that I've already received. This says open because my parts order form is still open because I have some items on there that were not filled. Does that make sense? Because especially for you, Jackie, because I mean this is really important with stock orders because this happens a lot. We get a lot of calls on this saying, what do we do with this? Or I deleted it. Why is this PO still there if I converted half of it? How did that happen? So we just click here and convert the rest of it. We convert it back over to a vendor invoice. So now it is on here by itself. Okay? So that's how it works. It's kind of a 2-step process. Now if I hit cancel, do you want to say changes? No. Now it's still going to be here, but let's say we don't need it anymore. I can just void this. Void this parts order. Yeah. We had some that were received. So you know what I have to do? I'm glad that came up. Let's convert it over to a vendor invoice. Now let's save as an open vendor invoice. So now we're actually, see, this is parts order. Let's go back to over here, restock parts. Here I've converted it, right? So here it is right now with just my 4 invoices. Or my 4 oil filters of the 1394, right? So let's just save it again. So let's see, can I void it from here? Void restock? Can't because they have been received. You have to delete all of the items from the restock first. Okay, so I just, looks like, learning curve for the both of us, I delete this line item. Yeah, I have nothing on there. And I'm going to save it. Now can I void it? Yes. Okay. So I meant to tell you that. So if you want to void these, you just have to delete the items. Now, let's go back to order parts again. Look at some of these here. Let's see, can I just void this one? Void parts order? No. So same thing. I guess it really just wants you to say, okay, oh, that's the same one. I'm going to go in here. See, can I delete that? I really want to delete this. I converted it. I don't know why it oh, cancel remaining items on the order. Use closeout only if the remaining back order or open items on this PO will never be received or are no longer on order. Are you sure you want to close out? Yeah. Cool. Well, that's how we do it. So I'll have to go back and watch what I just did when I archived this training video. So there's a lot of little intricacies to this, but frankly, I don't even really remember having to do all that because most of the time you get your parts or they get back ordered and they come later. But now just by going in there and playing with those, see, I bet you this one, let's see, this is a sublet. Let's see if it'll let us void it. Yeah. The reason why the other one didn't let us void it is because it knew that we probably received an invoice from Napa for that restock that said received 6, back ordered 4. So it's making you go through kind of some extra rigmarole just to make sure you're really aware of what you're deleting, of what you're canceling. Obviously, when these guys designed this software, they really knew what they were doing and probably knew a bunch of boo-boos people had been doing by accidentally deleting this or voiding that. So they always put in those little extra steps that say, you sure you want to do this? And then it tells you why. Remember in that explanation, it told us why. Well, the reason why I'm not letting you do this is because you actually have a restock parts ticket that says you have these on back order, and say, yeah, I want to void them anyway. So that's what it had us do.
But Serena, shouldn't it, if you, like the first time you went through, you only received half the order, and then you went back to the order parts, and then you converted what was left, shouldn't that clear out the
Yes.
purchase order?
Yes, it should have.
Without you having to go back and manually delete, go back into the parts order? Because that's actually, I was just going to ask this question while you were going through that, because that happens to me a lot because I'm, where I am rurally, I don't always get all my parts because they're coming in from fill-in stores. So actually, what you just did, I do a lot of. But I was just wondering how, because I've been running into that where it always is telling me you haven't filled the order when I actually really did and received it.
Yeah, let's look. So where, so I'm going to click Find, because look at these are, I think these are sorted by, no, they're sorted by date. You know what I'm thinking, Derek, maybe what I blew is, did I not save it when I brought those other 4 over?
I don't know. Could we create another order with a parts order with two parts on it? Only receive one, and then go through what we did just to see, because it would seem that it should clear itself out after you convert it.
Yep. Let's take a peek. Okay, so that one, what do we come up with? 1394, right? So we'll do the exact same thing. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and save this. Actually, we're going to, I'm going to do the exact same steps. I'm going to save it like I would in real life. Actually, I would have hit send order. Okay, so I would have gotten out of this. Then I would have gone back in, order parts, open it back up. Actually, I would click here. I always use this big green check mark.
Sure.
And I'm going to leave this blank because I'm not sure what my total is going to be. So now I'm going to delete the 1394s again. Yeah. And I want to save the rest. Yep, we know I did that. Fun work. Okay. Okay, so now I'm in the order parts. I want to look at 2 things. I'm going to go back into restock parts. And just so you guys know, if you ever want to go back and say, where's the posted restock parts, I can always click on this View Closed and Posted Vendor Invoices. So here's the one I just did. And I just want to double check my work. Okay, 6. Looks good. See, there's 2 of them. Remember this, the one I did earlier and the one I just did. So now, let me jump back and go to Order Parts. Still here. I'm going to convert it. And see, my total here is what the original PO would have been. But now if I just click OK, it changes to what it is without the other 6. So now if I save this and post it, am I doing this right, Derek?
Yeah. So far, you're right on track. What I'm thinking. Or
Okay.
How I do it.
Right. Okay. So now that's gone. So I think what happened is I converted it, got into the restock parts invoice, and then exited without saving. I canceled. So I could bring.
Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong, because it always would stay there, and then I'd have to basically do what you just did in the earlier steps, is go in, individually delete that one part, and then close out the purchase order.
Gotcha.
So I'll have to try it again and see. It may have been operator error.
Well, you know what happens? Well, yeah, you're talking to the right person. Man, oh man, I've made all the mistakes. What happens a lot of times is that people, like with this guy yesterday, he's been running the software since June 1st, and he's doing a great job. And he was like, I kept doing these POs, but I can't ever find them. So what he was doing was, when they arrived, he would go into the restock parts, and then, nothing there. Okay, and then he would start a new one, and he'd go and start a new ticket, which I totally get, because that's what I did. So what we wanted to do is make sure you go back into order parts. Now, I don't know if you could kind of jog your memory and remember, did you actually go back into order parts, or were you waiting, looking to see if it was restock parts? Because the half-filled purchase order stays under ordered parts. You know,
I'll have to go through my process again when I do it. I mean, it's hard to say now that I've seen it do the right way. You know, which way I was doing. I'm sure I must have missed a step, obviously.
Right. Well, these are kind of the ways that, you know, the system is streamlined to work. I mean, there's kind of a bunch of different ways you can approach this, and I'm just kind of staying on the mainstream way, the mainstream track that I use, and I use it at the shop when I was using the software. But, you know, there's other ways to do all sorts of things. Like I said, we can, you know, I did cover a little bit in the restock parts where you can actually create one, put a part in, and assign it to, well, that's fine, you know, assign it here to a repair order or a parts invoice if you guys use the parts counter, you know, the parts counter option instead of the service counter. So that's a way to reserve it. I'm trying to think of some of our other ideas. Here's some back order detail. I mean, this actually gets auto-populated through the purchase order feature. In fact, I probably should have looked at that before I restocked my last 1394s, because all this does actually get populated in there. And you have an option. Go ahead.
I have a question, which actually I've been meaning to ask you guys this for a long time. When
Sure.
you assign an item to a repair order or a parts invoice, wouldn't it be nice to have a column on the vendor invoice to let you know that you have selected a parts order or repair order for that part? So that, you know, if you get like a whole slew of, you know, 10 parts and 3 of them go on this car and 3 of them go on that car and some of them go into stock, that if they had another column, you know, somewhere's up here that would say either the repair order number or just a yes or a no that it's been assigned. So occasionally, you know, if you forget to assign it and the technician doesn't write down the part number, the part may not get charged out when you go to make the bill.
You got it. You got it. So now this one, totally. And I think that would actually be pretty simple to do. See, right now, reserve item for repair order, you know, 10,065. I had that.
Right.
It's not showing up right here. Wouldn't that be nice if it showed up right here? Then we knew.
It could show up, then you knew that it would be applied, and you wouldn't have to. Because I always, if I have a large, you know, large ticket with lots of parts, go back and make sure that I have them all assigned. Because if I forget some brake hardware, let's say, and the technician doesn't mark it down, you know, the part has already been into the computer system. It's already accounted for. It's just not accounted for specifically for that invoice.
Right.
I do know that they do give you that printout page
right.
where you can print out. But when you get to that page and you say, oh, damn, I forgot, you can't go back anymore. It's already too late. So if they can't put a column, I was wondering if they could put that maybe with an option to cancel rather than just print or close it out so that you could go back and make changes.
Well, what happens, yeah, I sure am. Let me go ahead and let's put an amount in here just to be semi-legit. I don't know, 18, I don't know, is that expensive? Here, let's put $7. Okay, so let's just go ahead and click OK, save, and post. Yeah, I know. I shouldn't be showing you guys me passing that up all the time, because I usually don't. I know.
Right here, if you could go back, if you say, oh, gee, I actually had 5 parts on this, but I only assigned them to, you know, one person, you know, to hit something to go back, you know, to finish it up.
The way that the program is written in the, you know, it's on a SQL database. You know, it's funny. It's so many things in our program. We can void, delete, repost, do all that kind of stuff. There's 2, you know, gone forevers. You void a repair order, it's gone forever.
Right.
If you restock a parts ticket, it's like the only thing that we can't reverse. We actually have to write a credit for it and then redo it again if we needed to redo it, right? So it would be nice. I've been told, and you know, this may evolve over time, that because of it affecting so many different areas of the program, if they were able to let us void it at this point, they're like, oh, Sabrina, we would talk about an accounting nightmare because it goes into inventory, it goes into your general ledger, it goes into your vendor, your AP vendors, it goes, you know, it may be going on to a repair order because it has so many, you know, fingers of this little restock parts ticket really integrates into a ton of different areas. We can't do that right at this point. But I see what you're saying. You could say, well, yeah, I've got my headlamp switch here, but you know, I have 4 other parts here, right? That should have gone. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's check this out. If I were to, let's go back in here. Let's order another something special from my car. What I'm interested to see, if I order from Napa, keyword air filter for fun. Let's put this in. Air filter, actually cabin air filter, I probably need one. And then quantity, okay. Well, we know that. That's just our problem. Add selected parts, okay. Now I'm going to click OK, save. So I get my restock, you know, my pink screen. I love this low stock parts. I'm going to click in order, and I'm click next, and click next. And this is my parts order form. Okay, we're good there. So now I'm going to go in and convert it. And why didn't it come up? Do you want to say, what did I do wrong? I wonder if this is maybe a problem because I didn't enter cost in there. No, let's see. What if I
should still pull it over though?
Yeah, it should, shouldn't it? Let's see. Save. Oh, what the heck did I just do? It's Napa, right? It was Napa. Let's see if it pulls it over. Oh, guys, I don't know. I think I could have been operator error. Let me try it. See, it still says check mark. See if it'll let me order it again. Oh, let's check this. Remember, I can look under here. Parts on order. No, it's not. Oh, no, there it is. Air filter. 10,103. Canceled.
Canceled.
Ugh. Okay, operator error. Let's do that. Let's do that again. Sorry, guys. Napa. Let's go category again. Oops, not category. Keyword. Air filter. Go air filter. Let's do cabin air filter. It's done, just for fun. Cost. Yeah, I know. Add it to the RO. Okay. So now I'm going to save it. Go back in here and order it from Napa. Next. Now I'm going to edit it right now. I'm going to put a cost in here because it's a fortune. Okay, so it's reserved. It's already reserved for my job. Okay, that's good. Now let's see if this works. So I'm going to save this open PO. Actually, I didn't remember. I hit my send order button. Save this open PO. So now if I go into here, here's my Napa. Let's open it and look at it. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, I'll do it here. Convert into vendor invoice. Because what I'm looking for, I could actually be legit, put in my total amount. See, here the PO number shows up. And the reason why it showed up there, Derek, is because we did it when we left an RO. So I'll talk to them and see if they can, you know, if we, or to add a line item, let's for fun, add a line item. Or, yeah, let's do this, hose. Cool. So if I do reserve it for, what's that? Which one's it on? 10,105. So if I do,
that's the purchase order.
Oh, that's a purchase order number, right?
That's where I'm getting at. It's not not the RO number. It's a purchase order number. I understand that if you go through and put it on the RO, and then order it, have a parts order, and then bring it over to, add the vendor invoice or convert it over to a vendor invoice,
right.
then it will be tracked. But if you just get a ticket that came in, one of the techs ordered it over the phone or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to put it in and you have, let's say, a whole slew of parts, there's no way on this vendor invoice, unless you individually look at them to make sure that you assigned a part to a repair order.
Gotcha.
Until you get up to that printout screen. So I was thinking if they could put in another column, or if you could toggle between the two or something like that.
Sure. No, I'm following you now. I'll tell you right now, I actually was assuming this PO number here was my repair order number. But now I realize they're auto-generated. And let me just back up and show you something that I did in real life because, no, I'm not going to say that. Okay, so in real world, when I really was using this software, and I would create a purchase order, well, first of all, I really always only put parts for one job at a time on each vendor invoice. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I go to add parts, and let's grab another one. Let's say I'm going to do next part just for fun. Mix it up a little bit. So if I order, okay, let's put another filter on here. Let's filter. Let's throw a fuel filter on here. I probably need that too. So display parts. Okay, so what do we got here? Hello. Okay. Fuel filter champion, Wix. So let's go with the Wix. So I'll click add fuel filter, and now I hit order review, because see, this is grayed out, guys. You got to go in this order. Order review, and then this lights up. Add selected items to RO. Oh, and by the way, I can put comments in here. Get it here fast, customer waiting, by the way. So add selected items to RO. So now, check this out. When I hit save only, and I order this, and it's coming from factory, I always would click on this, because I would know this right here. It's 10,075. I always clicked on this instead of auto-generated, and I'd put in, just because that way when the purchase order, of course it has, it has, but you know, I would probably put in, let's put RO just for fun, okay? Because when and this is just how I used it. This is really, you know, not Scott Systems talking. I'm talking about when I was running this in the shop. See, when somebody came in, then I knew I'd just grab this fuel filter. Okay, it's RO 1075. I would look it up really quick, because I wasn't restocking my parts ticket right away, which I should have been. But I looked up my RO number really quick, and I go, oh, it's for the Saturn. Then I'd be like, oh, you know, Josh is working on that. So I would just grab that fuel filter, run into the shop, and hand it to him. That was my real-world workflow, if you're following me. Yeah. So I would actually put in this PO number a different RO number. Now, what's kind of cool, though, about this system is that you can add a line item and say, I wanted to order something else. Here we go, crankshaft seal. And I could put it on another job. Instead of 10,075, I could say, oh, this is for the Volkswagen. I just have it all on one ticket. Now, this is the way I used it in real world, because I would keep just one invoice to itself. So I really kind of never thought about your issue, Derek, until, you know, you brought this up. It's a great idea.
Yeah, well, see,
so now
my issue is being rural. You know, my vendors pull from different places that every invoice that I call them on, they don't print out. Sometimes they just hold it in the system, and in the morning, you know, when their midnight runs come in from their various places around the state, I would have a whole slew of parts on one invoice. So I can't very easily say, okay, well, I ordered the spark plug and the ignition wires for this car. That's one.
Yep.
I wish it was that easy, because then it'd make it a lot easier for me. But the way they do it is they just lump everything together.
Yep.
And I have to go out and say, oh, where did this one go? Okay, who's working on that? And luckily, being a small shop, that's not a big deal, because if I had a 5, 8, or 10 bay shop, you couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Well, I'll definitely put that in as a feature request. See, here's my PO number.
Yep.
But it is only what you call that one purchase order. You call it the purchase order number. So if you have multiple vehicles, you're in a pickle. I kind of, in my mind, just never kind of thought of it that way.
Like in your instance right here, you put your RO number as the PO number, but remember you assign that crankshaft seal to a different
Volkswagen
to a different repair order.
Yep.
So in this instance, the way you're doing it kind of wouldn't work out for this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I'm saying is if it would have another column here where it had the repair order numbers on, you could be sure and bet that, because when you click on that vendor invoice to save it, like you said, it's done and over with. You can't go back unless you void everything, and you can't make any more changes to it. So it'd be another, not fail-safe, but another safety check before you complete it out.
I agree with you 1,000%. Yeah, because once it's done, then you're like, oh shoot, I need to know to do that. And then I don't know about you, but then a customer walks in, and you know what? That's gone. That's no longer on my radar. And
Exactly.
I might have time to jot down, put this on RO number this and this, but I might still, I might forget. And yeah, it does happen. I mean, part of the whole reason, let's go ahead and post this, because I wanted to show everybody else on the call. Again, we still get that screen that says, this crankshaft seal is going to Volkswagen. And the reason why it's not showing, by the way, the fuel filter is because the system already knows I have that fuel filter already on RO number 10,075. Just want to cover that real quick. But, I totally hear what you're saying, Derek, and I think, the whole idea of when they designed this was to make it, fail-safe. So, and exactly what you're saying, so you didn't forget. So I will suggest it to them. Just my one last thing. If I click OK, save, will it come back on? No, I don't have any more parts to order. Remember, I messed up that Napa stuff. Okay, so if I add one more part, and I'll tell you what happened to me. I probably actually already told this to some of you guys. Let's say cart keyword, I don't know. Let's just do oil filter again. What I ended up doing is, sure, let me do that one. Is I got to this screen like at 9:30 a.m. January 2nd, 2008, because I went live on that Monday, January 2nd, 2008. I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't know what this is for. And I clicked this box, do not show me this form again, and exit without ordering. It'll never come up again. Okay, so then I go back into here. And this is before we had the red circle and the slash on here, which I begged them to put on because, dumb bunny that I was, I'm the one who turned that feature off. Doesn't come up anymore. See that? It's frustrating. You're like, well, wait a minute. And so many people do that. They turn it off, and I'm like, well, do you see that big pink screen? They're like, what pink screen, Sabrina? I've never seen it. Now, the way you turn it back on, which I think is really important, obviously, because I blew it. So I did not know, just so everybody knows on the call, till 2.5 months later, like March 16th, I realized that feature was even in the system. I have no shame. I'm telling everybody what happened. Okay, so here, warn me if I have parts on the RO that need to be ordered. So if I check this box again, and it, like I was just showing you, go under Setups, this workstation, which means you have to turn this on for every workstation, that you want that pink screen reminder to come up on. You have to check that box. Warn me if I have the parts, and sublets, by the way. Warn me if I have sublets or parts on the RO that need to be ordered. And now when I go back in here and I click Save, my warning comes back up again. But who knew? I mean, I turned this little box off, and I never knew about this feature again. And I truly think it's like one of the most key workflow time-saving features in the program. It's a little bit intimidating at first, or it was for me. I mean, I train on software, and I love Scott Systems. I've been working on their DOS version, since '92. But I'm not a computer person. You guys all know that. I'm not. It's really not my. It's not my bag. I love the training. I love working in a shop. But getting in and troubleshooting. If Napa says, well, can't really get your username and password, go to our site and download this and that. Yeah, I wrestle through that kind of stuff. But shoot, if I've got, other work to do, I won't use these features. So what I'm saying is if you guys run into a situation where you are having a problem getting this stuff set up, please call us. Please call tech support, and we will work with you. We'll work with your vendor to make sure we, get that straightened up and get that turned on. Okay, hey guys, we have some late people to our call today, and I am because you guys know, obviously, I don't multitask. I've got Maria on. A few other folks that are on the call, I just unmuted your mic. Do you guys have any questions? Anybody else has? Okay. Well, guys, I think we've kind of covered most of the process. I hope this was valuable for you guys today. I do have a few more training videos online that talk about adding labor to a repair order from, all data, from NextPart, from a couple different options. And it's under the training tab. I just added them, I think Friday or Monday. So we have some training videos about adding labor. I'll have the add a part videos done in the next couple of weeks that will go into this and talk a little bit more, which I'll become more familiar with, about navigating their websites. Because you saw IAP is a little bit different. Let me show you something else, just so you're not taken by surprise with this. If I go to IAP, let's do a next part because I got a bunch for next part. If I go to another vendor that uses next part, again, I'm still going to have my reason or my labor down here, but see, totally different interface, totally different. If I go to, what's another one? Merle's. Again, the labor's still down here. Okay, it's a different supplier, but a little bit, okay, this one may be the same interface. But so I want you to be aware that the parts houses have the ability to, when they sign up with NextPart, or they sign up with IAP, or they sign up with one of the other, online parts electronic ordering programs, they can turn certain features on and off. So some parts warehouses may have the labor guide, some may have the repair specs, some have a little bit different workflow. Now, we test it out to make sure that you can still get everything added onto your repair order, but you'll notice some of the interfaces are different. So all I'm really recommending is, and I'm one to talk, just get in there and mess around with it. And I even have folks all the time that get set up and they do test orders, and they call over to the parts store, hey guys, I'm doing a purchase order through my MaxxTraxx, look for it, and then they get the order. They'll just call you and say, yep, got the order for your fake oil filter, order, and they void it for you. But, work with the parts invoice, or the parts warehouse, because these guys are the ones who really want you doing online parts ordering, because it makes them more productive. It reduces their costs, keeps their call volume down, and where it's really kind of cool is you guys aren't depending on somebody that may or may not know what's the right part number. And last thing I wanted to mention, especially if we have anybody that converted over from MotorTraxx into MaxxTraxx, you see up here in the upper right-hand corner this vehicle description, you notice it's case sensitive. Now, if I double-clicked on this, what happens is under this details button, I think, is it here? No. Oh, here it is. There is an AAIA number. So if you were to, for example, enter into the system a year, make, model, and you didn't know the engine, you know how there's an option there that says, I don't know the engine, remind me later? You need to be able to know exactly what the engine is in order to have the system assign this AAIA number, and it stands for Automotive Aftermarket Industry Association. And it's these guys that created this huge database of every year, make, model, and engine to create a unique number. And it's off of this number that when you go into your online parts ordering, it knows automatically. You know how it always popped up in the the upper left-hand corner, year, make, model? And occasionally, what was it, Napa made us reselect our engine? Occasionally, they don't know it all the way. But if you have any vehicles that transferred over from MotorTraxx, any converted data has actually, even a competitive software system, I'm pretty sure, these will all be in capitals. They'll all be capital letters, capital S, capital A, instead of sentence case, which is capital S, small a. You know what I mean? So all you have to do is just reselect your year, make, model, and engine. And by doing that, so this is an 03 Saturn L series. Okay, so by reselecting that, that actually is what populates this number. And then it will work with your online parts ordering. Or else what will happen, and this is not a big deal, what will happen is you'll just go into one of these websites and you'll just come up to a screen instead of it saying 03 Saturn L series, and knowing this already, it'll just say, put in your year, make, and model. This right here will be blank. So not a big deal. Not a big deal, but it definitely saves you time if you guys can just reselect that year, make, model, and engine, and it will give you an AAIA number. So Okay, guys, I hope I've...
question.
Sure.
Did you say that the username and password that I currently use with Napa, that will have to be different for this?
It may or may not be.
Okay.
Just like with Napa, just like with CarQuest, and I don't know if they're all on the same system nationwide now or not. Some CarQuest people that use IAP are the same username and password. Some shops aren't. They're different. Okay. And, it's so funny. Sometimes it's pulling your hair out to get to the right person at your local Napa store to get this information for you. And they're busy, and they don't want to, these parts sales guys, they're not IT people either. But just tell them, look, can you have your IT guy call me? And they may say, well, I really don't have an IT guy. And I even talked to a store manager in Southern California about a month ago, and he says, I really, Sabrina, don't know how you do it. So I ended up calling the 800 number for Napa and got a hold of the corporate office in Florida. But you know what? I'll tell you right now. The Napa store has you have a store number and an account number, and it's a combo of that, and then the password is usually your account number. So it's whatever I can't off the top of my head remember the name of their system, but it's actually in their system that generates that. And yeah, I've been told they are different. Now, whether or not eventually they're all going to be the same, I don't know. So just push for it, because, yeah, they're like, IT stuff, I don't care.
Now,
but I think that...
this, will it be my local store that I'm accessing,
yes.
or will it be the...
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It may be both. What happens is your pricing and once they get the cost in there, the data actually may be coming, transferring through the Internet in between your distribution center, not your local store, but your local store gets the exact same order.
Okay.
They are made aware of it.
Are they on, can they do O'Reilly's through this?
O'Reilly's is on IAP.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, O'Reilly's it was actually O'Reilly and General Parts who owns 1,400 of the 3,000 CarQuest stores. So it's General Parts, O'Reilly, and CCI Triad, if you guys remember Triad from the 80s and 90s. They actually were all got together with a private equity firm in 2000, and they developed IAP. And I actually have a gal that I work with at their corporate office. She is amazing. So if you guys ever run into a pickle, just give me a call, and I can see about working with her to get you the information that you need. And like I said, IAP isn't just O'Reilly or just the CarQuest. They've got little parts chains all over the country. Some have them like 5 stores. Some have 15 stores in addition to the biggies. So you never know. Some of your smaller parts warehouses may be, online and you just don't know it. So ask them. It just makes your life easier. And eventually, they're going to like it too, because you're reducing their costs and making their people more available.
So
and
O'Reilly's, and who else owns CarQuest?
General Parts. They're the largest, what do they call it, group owner. General Parts has 1,400 CarQuest stores. So I know that IAP has almost all CarQuest stores, and I think the way that it works is that some CarQuest stores have both. You can go through NextPart, or you can go through IAP. And, they're always, like I said, they're always changing. They're migrating. They're like, forget this. We're going to build our own interface and do it in-house, because don't forget, these guys are paying IAP, and they're paying NextPart, WHI, the old wrenchhead.com, for their services. And like I said, I have not a clue if it's a percentage or by transaction or whatever it is. So you will notice that these things will change. But if they do change, just give us a call, and we can look and see what they're using, what interface they're using. So that's a little bit, and we'll add more as we get, if there's more, ActiVent works. I don't even know what ActiVent, I think it's AConnect, ActiVent, AConnect. I think they have a whole slew of parts warehouses now. Are you guys familiar with that at all?
I'm not.
Okay. So, like I said, the landscape changes constantly, and I think what I'd like to do, and I'll mention it to my management, I would like to have like an online parts ordering resource page on our website. So when you guys say, you know, gosh, do you guys interface with this person or that person, or is there like an 800 number I can call to get help directly from the parts warehouse, you know, that kind of thing. I just think that would be a handy tool because I do really think this is one of the greatest features of the program. I'm still embarrassed to think that I didn't use it for that long. I used WorldPak, so as far as the, you know, the restock invoice, I was doing online parts ordering through factoring WorldPak. It's just the whole restock parts feature I didn't realize, and that, like I said, reduces your data entry. I did my own little study, you know, 40, 50, 60%. So I think that's huge.
Yes.
Okay. Good questions, guys. I think this is going to be a really useful recording, a really useful archived webinar. Please feel free to reference it anytime. I'll do a follow-up email so you guys have the link to it, but I usually get these up by the end of the day, or if not, by tomorrow morning. I'll get that up on the website. And if you want to check out our training videos, the training videos that I just put in, like I said, are about adding labor from the online electronic ordering, you know, the parts warehouses. But I'm also going to be working on the add a part videos, so look for those in the next couple of weeks. Okay, if we don't have any more questions, we'll wrap it up. I appreciate you guys' being here today, and I hope this was helpful. And look forward to hearing you on next week's webinar, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye, guys.